Excuse me. Good morning out there in internet land. Welcome to the second part of the second community build for my Necromunda board. I did this up last night on um, the last live stream. The only thing I did off the camera was sand this. And I think I kicked up all the dust. Tried to vacuum it good, but I didn't do that on the live stream because the vacuum is really loud and it's just a pain in the butt. So I did that just a few minutes ago before I started live streaming, and I think the dust hasn't quite settled, and I took off my mask, so now my throat itches. This piece popped off when I was sanding this, so I think I might actually readjust it. It was like here, but I might try to flex this. Let's get our hot glue gun on. We're gonna have to glue this piece in. Apparently I didn't last night. That's fine. So I wonder if I can't twist this into the shape that kind of fits back here. I do like that. The only issue I see is it still leaves a pretty good gap here. Let me get you a better angle. The gap between this box. So maybe I think about, before I glue this thing in, maybe I think about trying to tile this a little bit. So let me grab some tiles. Did I have any that I already made? I thought I did. If not, we can make some more. That's not an issue. This is just scrap bin, random pieces and stuff. Looks like I got a couple tiles sitting around, so I'm going to pull those out. Yeah, I thought I had a few left over. And I'll grab me a chunk of granny granning too. Maybe a couple. That would be good for the moment. So we just, let me get you a better view. We just tile these, slide them all the ways in. I think that might have a cool effect, and it will cover this joint right here. So then, let me show you this piece. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. Let me get that out of the way. This piece will hide that back behind there a little bit. So I like that idea, and this one slides in here pretty nicely. So hello, Sims Gaming. I'm making terrain for Necromunda, the tabletop skirmish battle game produced by Games Workshop. I played the older one that was released in like 97 or something, but I also like to play the new one that came out in 2017. As you can see, most of this, actually currently all of this is just garbage. The only thing I paid for is the big pot of spackleting, or spackleting. I don't know why I call it that, spackle, that I put on there. Should just call it drywall because that's what I'm used to calling it. But so yeah, we're gonna glue this in right now. Nope, because we don't have a hot glue stick in there. Okay. Get us some hot glue on there, and this first piece, it just slides in there ever so nicely. But the next piece below it is gonna have to get cut. I don't know if you can see. So I don't think I'm going to waste these cool squares on it. I think I'll put the squares like this. So I made these squares out of, here I have one right here so I can actually show the main piece. It's a, oh, maybe I shouldn't dox that company, doesn't matter. Here's a blank one. It's a Tupperware container. Basically, like a disposable or recyclable one that they use for shipping seafood, actually. I washed them, don't worry. But it's just basically an extra large Tupperware container. I'm seeing a lot of play in this piece. This is another thing that here, I'll give you a better view. Another thing I do while I'm building is like, I'll constantly be messing with, this guy still wiggles, which I don't like, and this guy wiggles a lot. A lot. So I'm gonna go right now before I close this joint up. I'm actually gonna go from this side first, and I'm gonna put heck a lot of glue in there, and cut myself a little popsicle stick, so, or that's like a coffee stir. I'm just gonna shove it back in all that hot glue I did. That'll just keep you from being able to see it in that joint, and it will really mash it back in here. You said you were making terrain. What will the finished? Well, I don't have any completely finished, like painted finished, but I have some finished built. Oh, so I can grab one of those. This was the last live stream community build I did. I did it over 8 1-hour-long episodes of exactly what I'm doing now. Glue and garbage together. So that's a 1 foot by 1 foot tile that it's on. So then they all can be put arranged together, and thank you. They all can be arranged together in different formations to make different layouts, and then there'll be like walkways and stuff. If you're interested, I would definitely even just like go over to Instagram and search Necromunda Terrain, and you'll see some really cool, if you'd like dystopian, cyberpunk, industrial, future sort of stuff. Oh, I still got some. Necromunda is really cool. It's kind of like, at least when I got into it and was really playing it a bunch, I was also playing GTA, I think, and the one that was out at the time, and this just shows how old I am, was like Super Gang Warfare, and it just reminded me of that, because you basically have like a gang of dudes trying to stake their claim, or people, humans. Well, I don't even know if they're humans. Beings, we'll just say a group of beings that you are trying to stake a claim of an area of a giant, vast metropolis built on top of itself. So I always thought it was super cool. like the paneling. The only issue I have is that I got this empty space here, but I'm gonna put this here just so that I got the eyeball of it. I am thinking of doing like scaffolding up a little bit higher than this, maybe right at the top of this level. So maybe a support for that scaffolding can come out of here, so that it will kind of cover this space. I do think I'm going to use these last two here because this particular edge of cardboard really needs some help. That leaves this whole blank side of cardboard to do something with, but I kind of feel like I want to match this sort of design here. Thanks, Luna. It's been a lot of fun. That's a good movie. I like that one. So yeah, I'm gonna mimic this design here, this kind of shape. So like I'll do some bands of, you know, different layers of bands this way, and then a couple big ones that way, something like that. So yeah, so I'm gonna glue these on real quick because this edge needs some help. And in fact, before I do that, I'm gonna get some glue in here so that this thing is a little bit more stiff, because it's the kind of crushable box sort of thing, and that's not very structurally stable. So once we get these pieces on here, I feel like those will help add to that structure. And then I'll put a lot of glue when I do the texture on everything. I'll put a bunch of glue on that too. So far I dig it. I think maybe I'll do this whole bottom chunk down there in granny grading. Kind of have the shape already here. So let me grab my scissors. Scissors, where are you? What? I lost my scissors. How's that possible? Luckily, I got more than one pair, so we're good. So I'm just gonna kind of follow this for now. So it straightens up a little bit more, so we're gonna just try to shape that, trim this end. Still not fitting, so take a little bit more off the end. Not bad. A little bit more. And then we're also going to just kind of trim up these little pieces sticking off the bottom there. YouTube channel, The Paper Engineer. No, I don't think I have. But I might have watched the channel just because I love putting on crafting things while I'm crafting. So I may have seen that. I'll have to check it out though. It's good. the paper engineer. Okay, that's squared up a little bit better. See how well it fits down in there. All right, well, I like that as well. Paddling out that piece. It's a cool one, you're saying? Yeah, that I'll totally check it out. What do they do? Like what's their shtick? They build everything out of paper, I'm assuming? They build some crazy stuff out of paper? Get that piece wedged down in there. Oops. The only issue I'm seeing now is that there is just a tiny bit of a crack down in there, but not enough for me to worry about. He made a -10 warthog. Out of paper. That's awesome. I'll definitely check it out. That's super cool. I have tried to do some replication builds, but I feel like I really have a lot more fun just doing, whatever comes out of my imagination. It's like work if you're trying to replicate something, I feel. As opposed to just using an idea from it. But that's cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. Next, we got the panels on there. Next, we maybe, I don't know if I want to glue this in yet, because I might want to do a little bit more work on that corner to be able to get texture down there. In fact, we might just do that right now. Because I have this bit of texture right here in front of me. So I'm just going to take my wood glue. And I'm going to dump a generous portion on that bit in there. Paintbrush, a little water on it. I want this in here to look hanging. So I'm gonna try to get the paint all the ways around it. I just want to close this gap here, so I'm just gonna be shoving as much texture as I can up in that. But I'm not going to worry about moving that around any further than there, because that's really all I'm trying to do at the moment. If I put texture all over this, it's going to be it's going to need dry time. Cool, yeah, take your time. Don't even stress. I'll be here. I'm streaming for an hour, so you got like 40 more minutes before I'm gonna hop off. Try to fill these holes. I might have to tip this a little bit. And this initial layer probably isn't going to do it. Try to get as much of that back in the. As you can see, that didn't actually seal it, but that's the start of it. Like, if I can do that a few more times. That's why I did it right now, is because I'm going to have to do it a few more times. So I might as well get it going as quick as I can. I don't necessarily need all this extra down in this corner, because it's going to cause issues when I try to glue this piece down. So we're gonna get rid of that. I'm just gonna use it on something else. Smear it over there before it completely dries, and then I'm gonna take a lot of this sort of stuff, and in fact I can tilt this down a little bit so you can see so the chat ain't killing the what I'm doing. This is filtered out of the coconut fiber. I'm just gonna try to get some like, up on the top because I want to replicate like that dreary hanging down sort of slime, the stalactites of texture kind of trying to come out of there. And then I am gonna double up on this right now. Just because with this heavier grain, the heavier grain coconut fiber will help clog that hole a little bit better. And maybe I'll really put a lot of texture here, like raise it up so it looks like this has flooded and filled with something. May even, if I ever get my hands on resin, pour a little resin in there to give it some gloss and some depth. So there's our texture in that corner right here. As you can see, looking pretty good. Got rid of that, solved that problem with that joint there. This popsicle or coffee stirrer solved that joint pretty easily, so I can just texture around and leave this kind of gap, and that will look fine. This is the only gap that is left that needs to be dealt with, and I think I might have a solution, but it might not work. So my solution for that one was I thought I might be able to just take and glue some pieces in there and just kind of smooth this over with spackle. I did a lot of drywalling when I was a kid, or when I was younger, I should say, and so I'm decent at that. I can at least make it look like concrete sloping over there. My only issue with it is my razor knife is dying. What up? Welcome back, Sims. My razor knife is dying, so cutting this is going to be a pain, but I think we'll be okay. Or it won't work at all. So I think if I just wedge some of these in here and glue them, then I can sculpt over it with some more drywall putty. I do like to do styrofoam, work with styrofoam and like the XPS foam and that type of thing, because you can do so much cool carving. Vines and vegetation, that would be cool to put something twisted up this thing, and then maybe like scaffolding over it. Then I want to try to do like a bunch of candles of some sort of shrine thing here. But I'm gonna block this up real quick. So let's get some hot glue in here. Get this sealed up, and that can move us on to the next step. Push that too hard. It's all right. Oh, I will just add another piece of styrofoam, kind of even that out. The interesting thing with the styrofoam is because it's so you can compress it so much that if you put the hot glue on there and compress it a bunch, you can get it to smush and really fill a gap. So what I'm gonna try to do right here, and then if I just put some in between these two and kind of push it in. Don't worry about the noises and the bangs and stuff. I am in the underhive, so there is a lot of fans whirring and motors bumping and other little goblins running about. Let's see. Let's put a piece in here. That looks great. Get this all hot glued up, and I'll be able to add some stucco to it, or plaster, or drywall, or whatever you have available to you. I'll show you the compound I use. I think it's called joint compound or spackling. It works pretty good. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I put the plaster on it. So styrofoam dissolves with the accelerant that's in the spray paint, in the rattle can. So you can't spray that directly on there because the accelerant will hit it and will melt it. You can, if you get good, and I've seen it and I've done it, is that if you spray from a certain distance, the accelerant will evaporate before the paint, and the paint will hit it, and you'll actually be able to do a coat. That's kind of a waste of the paint, in my opinion, because the other option is to coat it with something. So you can just like take Mod Podge and coat the styrofoam with the Mod Podge and then paint it, and it won't dissolve. It'll only dissolve in the spots where you missed painting or missed the Mod Podge. But yeah, that's the technique for working with styrofoam. And you can look it up if you look up like pink foam carving or XPS foam carving. There is a lot of pretty incredible artists out there carving pink foam. So this looks pretty good. I'm just going to put more hot glue in here. Push this in a little bit more, because I just really want to round it out. It doesn't have to look great, it just needs to be rounded out a bit so I can get the stucco onto it and not sticking up too far where it's going to cause like a bump or something. So that joint's good, this joint's good, and we solved the issue back there, and that's good enough now that can't really see the gap down below, and I can still get to, can you guys see? Yep, I can still get to this joint in the back to fill it up a little bit more. Excuse me. Yeah, if you get good, like if you practice with it, but the only problem is, you know, you'll build something cool and then you'll be excited and you'll want to paint it and you know, you don't want to practice something that could destroy your terrain piece or any sculpted piece that you're doing, whatever it is. Um, if you put more time into the piece than using the aerosol can or the spray can is going to save you, you know, do you see what I'm saying? Like the aerosol can is going to save you time, but because you could paint it by hand and not have to worry about it dissolving. Um, so if you need to make something quick, then styrofoam aerosol can, sure, that's great quick way to do it. But if you're gonna put a whole bunch of time into it, um, either take the time to protect it from being dissolved, or um, don't use a rattle can. Paint it by hand. So there are choices there, but you know, there's a reason that we do things in systems, is because those systems have worked for people in the past. There's a reason we change systems, because those systems aren't working for us currently in the present. So I feel like getting good is a way to say figuring out a system that works for you. And some people can, I don't mess with it because I've melted a cool project because I uh, was in a rush and was like, oh, I don't have to protective coat the styrofoam from the aerosol, and it messed the whole thing up. So I've learned my lesson. I think I am going to go ahead and glue this in. I want to do a couple things first. I want to glue the top of this in. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, there's a couple Lego channels that I like to watch that are hours of, you know, time lapse, people time lapse building Legos. This stuff is kind of relaxing. So I'm just gonna get some hot glue in here. Get this joint back on. And then I'm gonna rough up this hot glue from last night that I like cool. I don't like the big blobs of hot glue. I don't mind if there's hot glue smeared all over stuff. I just don't like it when it's like the very recognizable hot glue blob. If you can maintain not leaving those around, it really helps in the immersion of the piece itself. Um, Secure that a little bit better. Now I do like the way that's sitting, but I kind of want to add something to it. I got some EVA foam. Yeah, have a good one, Sims. Thanks for hanging. I got some EVA foam that I might be able to wrap around the tubing just to give it a little bit more of like a structural integrity look. And I was wondering if maybe something there might be nice as well. Peace. So I'm gonna start this bottom piece. And the real reason I'm doing this is that the EVA foam, I think, is very porous, and I think this is why it has the quality that it really wants to stick to any sort of adhesive, which it allows it to stick other things to. Basically, works as like a nice bonding agent, bonding medium between things. Not the actual adhesive itself, but we're just gonna keep running hot glue down this. Letting it cool off a little bit in between so that we don't shift the end of it and then have to rip the whole thing off, because the problem with the EVA is it sticks so well that you kind of have to ruin it, the piece you cut, to be able to get it to remove it. So keep going around until we get to this end. And then we'll cut it. Perfect. That's great. And what that'll do is that'll give me a little bit more surface to adhere to down here, which will be awesome. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to knock down all the texture, any texture that got left over down there, just so that we have a nice, see, I put that joint on the wrong side. I would have liked it in the back. But that'll have to do. That's fine. Maybe I can twist this a little bit better. It's cool that this has some flexibility to it. It allows me to sculpt it a little bit. Except I can't seem to get it to sculpt in the direction I want, so apparently it wants to live right there. But that's okay. I kind of like it because it does allow me to give like a path here that is only one person wide, which little bottlenecks and choke points like that are fun. They can make some really thematic moments in games, so I don't really mind that. I'm wondering about adding extra texture here. This does have great texture. It just, the issue I have is it says something here, so maybe I can do, oh, that's not going to fit all the way around. Yeah, let's go ahead and like maybe split this down. Here. I'm going to cut it a little shorter first. Cut this piece shorter and then cut it in half. Trying to keep it really square. And this should fit right around here. Awesome. Try to line up the joint where the seam, this seam here with this seam up here, so then I could put them both facing the same direction so they're not right out there apparent. It's a good thing to keep in mind. Looks like I didn't quite cut this to the right length, but that's alright. I'll cut that at the end. Just gonna put some hot glue in here. We're going to try to make sure to stay level while we do that. So, do that on there. And we'll go ahead and snip that off. Give us a little finishing glue right there. Boom. How are we looking? Looks pretty cool, I think. Here, I'll give you a little bit better view of that. Not bad, not bad. I do feel like it's going to be kind of like just this shaky thing, because without shoving something inside of this to keep it from being wobbly, it's just, that's how that tubing is going to be. But I feel like if I don't attach it to anything else and I just put supports around it, like if I build something here and then build maybe a scaffolding above it, then it, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be able to get caught and ripped off. So I feel like that might be a cool thing, the fact that there's a little bit of flex to it. I don't know, but I am going to glue it down, because I feel like back there looks good enough, and I can build up texture and stuff with it. Just behind there, you know, it's going to be end up covered by a walkway back here anyways, so give that, glue that on. See, told you it's going to be a little bit of a wiggly piece. That's all right. I did have a couple other things. Just thinking more conduit going up. Just do conduit going in. Which I do like. I could also add something here. Right, that's pretty cool. Adding a bunch more piping on there. So how I like to do these is I like to wrap them with EVA, because the EVA, wrap them with a little bit of an overlap so that the EVA can kind of get squished in. That'll give you a nice, the ability to make a nice seam up against whatever you're pressing it to. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna start a little blob there and just I learned to just get the beginnings of it there and let it cool a little bit, because if you move it around, if you keep gluing and you pull this too hard, it'll shift, and then it'll dry, and then, or it'll cool, and it'll be out of whack. So now that it's a little bit cooled, I'm just gonna keep going around gluing this, getting closer to the end, and then gonna give it a little snip. Oh, drop it on the table. Right, nice little cup link, nice little gasket kind of feel. And now it will extend, you know, the distance a little bit. You can always put a little pressure on there. And this stuff is pretty stretchy too. So if you let this cool, which I need to let it cool first, you can kind of deform this a little bit more, or slim it down too. You can just take your razor blade or your scissors and cut it off if you need. So that looks good to me. I think I might put another, if I have enough of this EVA foam to go around. No, I do not. So I'll have to cut some more strips of that. I do like how that sits. So yeah, it looks like I need EVA. So just gonna cut myself some more strips. If my razor blade was better, I'd be doing it with that and the square, which is a much better way to do it. But these pieces are so small that the variance in the width shouldn't show too bad. I'm hoping. I'm just going to do the same thing I just did on the other side to this one, and then I'm going to go ahead and start this one too while that one's cooling. Let that one cool and finish gluing this one. There. So I do really like the EVA foam for adding different little bits and textures. You can use it for like banding or any sort of like armor plates or anything like that. The only issue I have with it is that it is so flexible that it has a tendency to warp. Sometimes that's a cool thing, sometimes that's not a cool thing. So here we go, we got our upgraded piping. See, that just adds a bit more detail to it. We're gonna go ahead and finish this. 1, 2. And not super worried about the fact that this isn't perfectly flush, because I'm going to put pressure on it up against that wall. So we had something going on like that, so we're going to go ahead and glue these guys in here. And then, like I said, I don't mind if there's hot glue everywhere. I just mind if it's like a big drop of hot glue. I think also I would like to rough this up real quick. Maybe peel at this a little bit, this piping a little bit, make it look like maybe it burst open. Really twisted that. There we go. Get a couple breaks. Come on. So, I don't know if you can see, but I warped the front of that. Putting it down there. definitely dig that. Do I want? Does it need another band down there? That's what I'm asking myself. Go ahead and glue this on. I'm thinking about that. When I glue these, I usually just put the hot glue right on the inside lip of the EVA, because then you can kind of squish the EVA foam just a little bit and then let it go, and it'll like stick the glue and pull back, and it will it has a nice effect of sealing that little gap that happens a lot of times when you're using the pipes. I don't feel like I need to put another band down there, but adding extra just little details, whether they end up getting covered up or not, is I've found it adds more when they are seen. Like there's so much more immersion that kind of adds. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put the unnecessary details, because that's kind of my shtick. Put another band of this here. We'll put that right there. That's great. Oh, let's get some here too. Pretty good. I dig that. So, there we go. Looking pretty good. I think before I sign off, I've been trying to do these for about 1 hour, just to an hour video a piece, just to kind of time my how long it takes me to build stuff and so on and so forth. So I got a few minutes left. I'm gonna go ahead and stucco this real quick. I have been quite enjoying doing the live streams. It's not something I'm necessarily familiar with. This is kind of my first jump into it. I just did a few last week, and then I figured that I felt, well, here's really what happened. I'm kind of getting a lot of I don't know, it just gives me incentive to work on pieces more, and it's a lot more gratifying than instant gratification type of feeling than the making my other videos, which are, you know, more planned out and take a lot more editing time. This doesn't really take any editing time. It's just all build time, which is what I love to do. So you'll definitely be able to catch me doing more streams. I'm going to try to do a stream every day at about this time. I think on the weekends I might try to do in the evenings more. I might switch it up and try to do one in the morning and one in the evening. I don't know. I haven't quite got a schedule out. When I do, I will publish some form of scheduling for people who actually want to, you know, catch my live stream and ask me questions. Really, the cool part, because you can always go back and watch the live streams, so it's not like you're gonna miss how I did anything. You can always go back and check it out. But what you are missing is the opportunity to ask me questions on maybe the techniques of how I did it while I'm doing it. So if any of you out there in the YouTube verse, the hobby world, whatever. Want some pointer? You want to build some terrain, but you're feeling intimidated by it? You want some pointers? Come hit up one of my live streams. I will gladly share any information I can to help you build terrain, because that's what I want to see happening. I want to see other people's cool terrain. I want to go play on other people's boards. I want to do some collabs of I build a 3 foot by 3 foot board, you build a 3 foot by 3 foot board, someone else builds a 3 foot by 3 foot board. That'd be heckin' cool to make one giant board with, right? So that's really my intentions, to get people into the hobby, get people making terrain, showing people that you can sit down for an hour a day with garbage and kids' toys and random things that you find and build super cool terrain. So that's really my goal for doing these live streams. So when I do get the schedule out, I will publish it. If that goal of mine seems to align with the goals of your hobby world, then heck yeah, let's hang out, let's talk some terrain. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. I think maybe one more thing before I go will be putting a little bit of more texture down here, just to get that started, because I really want to build it up back here, make it look like a very disgusting pit that you don't want to fall in. And it will also add to the structural integrity of this super wobbly one. So I'll use the heavy grit coconut fiber, pour it all down there. I'm gonna take a Sharpie and I'm gonna push it down a little bit in there. And then I'm actually gonna leave it at that and let it dry, because with it being all packed like that, the glue will spread around into it and really hold on to quite a bit of it. So it will look, I'll show you. I don't know if you can see, if it's too dark, but there's a bunch of texture. I want to make it look like you don't want to fall down back behind that tube. To show you, toss a model up there just to show you size relevance. So pretty cool industrial wall sort of corner build so far. But I'm going to go ahead and call it at that and finish it up this stream. It was nice chatting with all of you. It was nice hanging out. Catch me again either later today or tomorrow for my next stream. Y'all have a good night or day or whatever it is where you are right now.